La 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 lava, chicken. Steve's lava chicken, yeah.
Welcome to the educational segment with Senorita Morgan. So first, the hamstrings are very important in running because they're going to slow down the knee extension that's produced by the quads. And this will ultimately slow down the swing phase so that it's not too powerful and won't overstretch the hamstrings like as the leg is swinging, and it'll also prepare the body for foot strike.
Achoo!
Bless you.
Thanks.
After the swing phase, this is where the muscle is going to be at the peak tendon muscle strain for the hamstrings, because this is when the knee is going to be fully extended and the hip's going to be flexed. So that's going to be the point where the hamstrings are the most stretched and can be at the most risk of being injured.
Yep. Let's go.
The hamstrings are going to be under extreme demand in elite runners, and this is because the hamstrings will produce 8 to 10 times body weight as they are running. So it's important to strengthen your hamstrings.
Whoa.
The quad to hamstring strength ratio is very important because if the quads are too strong, it's going to overextend the knee and the hamstring won't be able to eccentrically slow down that movement, and as a result, this puts the hamstrings at a greater risk of being injured. The hamstrings are first going to do isometric contraction during the early stance phase of running, and this is going to stabilize the hip as well as the knee. And then they're going to concentrically contract to push the body off of the floor and propel it forward. And then finally, the eccentric contraction is, like I said before, going to be slowing down the knee extension as the leg is going through the swing phase. Finally, hamstring flexibility is not what's going to be preventing the hamstring injury. Instead, there needs to be good hamstring extensibility, which means the hamstring should be able to eccentrically contract with a heavy load. Because if you're just having flexibility with the hamstrings, that's not ultimately going to slow down that knee extension. So that's going to be important, and you need to have good fascicle length as well as good hamstrings to stabilize the hip as it's going through swing phase. And the next few exercises we're going to be showing you are going to ultimately help you develop good hamstrings for running.
Woohoo!
The first exercise we're going to be doing is called straight leg bounds. It is a concentric, eccentric, and isometric movement, but we're going to be focusing on the concentric movement. To start, you're going to want to have a straight posture with your ribs over your pelvis. You're going to keep your knees in an extended position, but not locked, just in case of an injury. And then you're going to put your toes in dorsiflexion, which means they're pointing up.
Oh, that's so bad. Oh, we're still going.
Pause it. You want to make sure that when you're doing the run, you strike with your foot under your center of mass, like that. Then you want to make sure that your hips are moving during the movement, not your knees or ankles. While doing this exercise, you want to have stiff ground contact to push the ground away quickly, while also maintaining tension through the proximal hamstring as the leg cycles. This exercise uses high-speed sprint, which in the straight leg bound uses the terminal swing mechanism and has the hip as the mover for the snap down. It also uses tendon stiffness, oh my gosh, and force transmission. It improves the hamstring, glutes, as well as the calf elastic stiffness.
Achoo!
Sophia will be demonstrating the eccentric hip extension, which is a primarily hamstring based exercise. So first you're going to start laying down on keeping a straight line from your trunk to your knees, and then with something or someone else will help you to resist knee extension. So you're going to flex your knees, and then you're just going to slowly lean forward. And as your trunk moves lower, you're going to use your hamstrings to resist the flexion. So, sorry. Okay, go back up. Yeah, so all you do is you have to keep your pelvis neutral, maintain the tension through the proximal hamstrings, and push away with the lower legs to control the lowering phase. This exercise directly trains the hamstrings because they are the main part in the late swing phase of walking. So this exercise directly trains what the hamstrings do in the late swing phase of sprinting, because the knees are rapidly extending while the hips remain flexed. This hamstring strength, which reduces the risk of injury, because it is in this position with hip flexion and knee extension where peak muscle tendon strain occurs. So this exercise helps to build eccentric strength at lung muscle lengths. Keeping the pelvis stable helps to reduce excessive anterior pelvic tilt. And finally, this exercise improves the functional hamstring to quadricep strength ratio. So the primary muscle action in this exercise is the eccentric contraction at the knee joint, as the hamstrings lengthen under tension to resist knee extension.
This is going to be doing the isometric RDL hold, which is performed by standing with your hips foot length apart, shoulder length apart, maintaining a soft knee bend and hinging the back until the hamstrings provide a strong tension. Like right here, the hamstrings have a strong tension without moving. Keep the spine neutral the whole time, and if your pelvic tilts anterior or posteriorly, we have an issue. This exercise protects against the hamstring injury because it trains the hamstrings to tolerate high force lengths at long lengths.
What?
Exactly where most strains occur during the late swing of sprinting, the isometric position enhances proximal neuromuscular control by requiring the core, pelvis, and hip extensors to maintain a stable hinge, reducing excessive anterior pelvic tilt as well. It lengthens and overloads the hamstrings. Long-term isometrics like the RDL also improves tendon stiffness and force transmission, building the hamstring's capacity to handle rapid stretch loads mechanically. Yeah. The isometric RDL primarily helps with the late swings phase of sprinting by training long length hamstring strength and pelvic control, and the isometric force pattern used during high speed running.